Welcome to Blarney Castle Gardens. We have over 70 acres of gardens here, and we'd like to take you on a little whistle-stop tour of some of our main features. There really is something here for all family, all ages and all areas of interest. We have our own little wildlife oasis here on the estate. Nearly all of the native Irish wildlife is here to be found, and if you're lucky, spotted along the riversides, things such as otters, kingfishers, birds of prey, foxes, red squirrels in the arboretums. There's just so much to see and so much to do. The main thing is make sure you have the time, because a visit here is a proper day out. Our most notorious garden space is our poison garden, and it sits here at the base of the castle alongside the battlements and features a collection of deadly and dangerous plants from around the world. The message behind this garden is educational though, because many of these plants are extremely useful to us. And it features plants such as Ricinus communis, which is a source of a deadly poison but is also the source of castor oil. Wormwood. Another traditional use of wormwood was to cure worms. If it didn't kill you, it would kill the worms. So kill or cure would be an apt expression there. And then things like digitalis, our common Irish foxglove, a source of digitoxin, which is now used in modern heart surgery. So knowledge is power here in these gardens, and it's not necessarily the plant that's out to kill you, it's what you do with the plant.
Here in the Coniferous garden we have a variety of coniferous plants. The most popular one would be the Venus flytrap, which is very popular with children. The other varieties we have are the Sarracenias, or the North American pitcher plants. As you can see, they're coming into flower at the moment. Once they finish being pollinated, the flowers will die back and the new pitchers will grow, and they in turn then will attract insects, and the insects will fall down into the pitchers. They will dissolve, and the plant then gets its nutrients from that insect, and they will continue to trap and catch and digest numerous insects throughout the season. Be careful when you're walking around here or being near the coniferous plants, because believe it or not, some of them do bite.
So I would like to introduce you to our elephant tree. Quite possibly the most photographed tree in Ireland, and possibly even the world, who knows. But it's a North American western red cedar, Thuya plicata in Latin, and only really up to maybe 220 years old, something like this. But what's fascinating is the sheer size of this particular specimen and the speed at which it's attained that. Much of our visitors imagine it to be significantly older. But one of the fascinating features I find is most of the bark is quite rough, as you can see. But up here, the bark is worn totally smooth. And that's the passage of tens of thousands of bottoms over the decades as people pose for their photograph. So if you're in the gardens, this is one that you mustn't miss. We're now in our Jurassic fern garden, a collection of Southern Hemisphere, Dicksonia antarctica and other tree fern species. And a lot of our visitors compare this to Jurassic Park and say that they wouldn't be surprised to see a dinosaur wandering out from amongst the clumps of ferns. But for me, it's quite a special place. It's really a magic all of its own. And it's actually the old quarry site where a lot of the limestone for the construction of the castle came from. So not just a wonderful garden, but a historic site as well. Welcome to our Vietnamese woodland garden. This is an ex situ conservation project that contains wild collected plant species, collected by myself and others in the foothills and the mountains in northern Vietnam. And many of the plants in here are actually endangered in the wild, and gardens like ours certainly, in my opinion, have a responsibility to try to ensure their safety for future generations. I brought you now into our Himalayan Valley because I wanted to show you this wonderful specimen. This is Rhododendron arboreum and the variety is Cornish red. And not only is it one of the biggest rhododendrons I've ever seen, but it is a spectacular specimen in itself. It probably dates to the 1880s when the Blarney Castle house was built. And one of the great things about this particular rhododendron is it comes into flower in about February, and the flowers continue for about 3 to 4 months depending on the spring that we have. And midway through the flowering, the entire floor underneath this area is carpeted in red, and it's just stunning. And if there's one thing to come in the spring to view, this is it. I'm here in our historic Belgian beds, which run on the approach road up to the Blarney house. And they're a collection of rhododendron and azalea species, which come spring really steal the show here in the gardens. You can see in front of me one of the colours, and this is a magnificent one, but it's not just here for us as well, because the bees also love it.
Welcome to the Herbaceous Border here at Blarney Castle Gardens. It's 100 metres long and it's planted around a south-facing wall that surrounds our stable yard here. It's filled full of summer scent and colour. These roses that I'm standing underneath here in the pergola start in about June and flower right throughout the summer, and it's just a riot of colour. We're constantly changing the planting, updating, tweaking, adding new plants all the time, so it's well worth a visit if you're in visiting the castle.
Our rock close gardens are some of the oldest gardens on the estate, with the structures dating back to the 1750s. This was the time that the mansion house was actually against the side of the castle, and the Jeffreys family were head of the estate. And they developed these amazing gardens with these fantastical follies. And visitors now to the gardens compare this area to something from Lord of the Rings or Narnia. And I'm standing in front of our witch's kitchen, and it's said that by day the Blarney witch is imprisoned in her stone, and by night she's released and she returns to her kitchen and lights her fire. In addition to the witch's kitchen and the stone, we have an area with Druid's Circle, the Druid's Cave, a dolmen, and most importantly the wishing steps. Now it's said that if you continue down and up the wishing steps in reverse with your eyes closed, thinking of nothing but your wish, then it will come true. Now not everybody is brave enough to do that, and this being Blarney, you can choose what to believe. The Seven Sisters Garden is a very special space. Lots of late summer colour here, and often clouds of butterflies and bees abound. But it's quite a magical space, and it comes with a story, this being Blarney. I'm stood in the centre of our Neolithic stone circle, which features 9 standing stones, 2 of which have fallen or perhaps were pushed. When you're here in the gardens, look out for the story.
Blarney Castle is a unique estate, steeped in history and legend, with an air of mystique. With visitors from all over the world, Blarney Castle and Gardens are truly a day out for all. See you soon.